Can you feel the life moving through your mind?
Ooh, looks like I came back for more. Yeah.
Can you feel time slipping down your spine?
Ooh, you're trying to ignore. Yeah.
But you can hardly swallow.
Bros in a landfill.
And you can't help but follow.
It puts you right back where you came. Wow,
And welcome back to Bros in a Landfill doing Sonic. Yeah. Woo! Man, that's an intro and a half.
That's one of our greatest cold opens of all time.
Man, the Ash Right You Eat Your Heart Out. I think we've just topped whatever previous ones we've done with him.
I think he could have sung that better than us.
I mean, like, my throat's still a bit fucked up. Not as bad as Pikmin as anybody can tell, but, you know, that's anybody who watches our Let's Plays.
So we're here to discuss Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
A bi-yearly trend, bi-yearly, I think that's right. Every other year, something like that. Tradition of watching the Sonic movies and then talking about them with just the PNG as the background, and like we're a good old podcast.
No,
like, who watched?
No B-roll of Sonic Adventure 2 for you.
Yeah, no. I don't think I don't think my HDMI converter for my old consoles makes the picture pretty enough to. I mean, unless if you want a blurry image there.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. Like that game's designed to be looked at on a CRT, right?
Yeah. But you know, you live and learn.
Can you feel life?
All right.
Okay, so I guess we'll just start off with just the general basic thoughts of the movies, and then like go into the nitty gritties. Do the good old Trybien nitpicking, which is a staple of the channel, as you know, because we got to build runtime. Like I will make sure that like even though I like the movie, you will come away thinking I hated it.
Oh, fantastic! I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Trybien take the lead on this discussion because he just recently watched the movie, and I watched it frame one at the earliest possible showing with all Actually, before we get too deep into this, I just want to talk briefly about my experience in the cinema before I forget. Because, like, I mean, I went to the first possible showing in my city, and that was, like, during, like, the day. And... like the whole time, you know, like audience was like pretty engaged. But what I didn't expect is that when we got into the post-credit scene and like, you know, the secret character showed up, the whole audience just erupted into like, yeah! And I was like, holy shit, I found my tribe. These are my people. I thought I was watching this with like normie families and stuff, but no. Like,
okay, these were people that were getting that like first screen showings. Like I was with the crowd of people who watched it a week later, and the audience was dead silent. So I probably had the biggest laugh in the theater, like the only out loud laugh in the theater.
No, I had such a good one. Like, and when I was leaving, I realized that a lot of people had come like in like a Sonic themed outfit. Like there was like a group of friends where like one of them was Tails, one of them was like Shadow, and had like their hair dyed and stuff. Like that's fucking awesome. I felt like so underdressed.
You know what's bad? That like the only conversation I heard about the movie afterwards was I think were workers at the theater, like who clearly didn't understand Sonic at all,
right?
Or like just like they were just like some like probably 30-year-old men like who just didn't understand Sonic, and they're like oh, it's like Sonic, and like oh, then there's like the black Sonic.
No. My theater was like, oh, I think that they're gonna do Silver the Hedgehog one day because of the time travel. And it was like. That is a peak way to watch the film.
I love that. No, I've what I've learned from the watching the Sonic movies is just don't expect anything. They're just gonna do whatever the fuck they want, and it's better that way.
You mean like the writing or?
I mean just like, so I guess like so. Let me put it this way, like when you're adapting like these movies into like Hollywood productions, there are like certain liberties you need to take.
Oh yeah.
Especially given the time shifting. So like I like one example is like 50 years ago now is not 50 years ago when Sonic Adventure 2 came out. So
No.
like the whole like vibes of like the arc or like that testing field facility were completely different.
That's
Which is
true.
fine. Like
Yeah.
which those are things that like I come to expect with this. I mean it's the same thing as like Sonic making like Zoomer memes.
Oh yeah.
Uh, um, or like the laugh. Okay, so the moment that made me like, I guess we'll be talking spoilers anyways.
Yeah, this is a spoiler. It's been
Like
long
if
enough. and
you
we've given
don't
you a warning
already
here.
know if you don't already know that like we both think it's a good movie and it's worth you seeing if you're monically interested in Sonic whatsoever. I say go watch it. You'd probably want to watch the first two movies first because they're good as well. Probably be a little bit confused if you hopped into 3 first. With
Yeah,
zero,
they
zero,
don't
zero
really
Sonic
do a lot of
context.
recapping, honestly. Like, you would kind of expect it to be approachable for anyone, but like you kind of
It's
have
like-
to have seen the other movies.
I mean, it's like at least each of the movies are self-contained enough where you could probably hop in and just get the story of each movie, but like you're not gonna get like the full picture of the character because there are character arcs that like go through the 3 movies.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but I guess like going into spoilers. So like the point that the single point that made me laugh out loud in the movie was the goddamn fucking Detective Pikachu joke.
Oh,
It's like, are you Detective Pikachu? Like that caught me so off guard.
that's funny.
And it's like, in in retrospect, it's not that it's not like this like clever, funny joke, but like in the moment, in the context of a Sonic movie,
It
asking
feels
the
like it
yellow-
should be off limits. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what that feels like the type of joke you would see in like one of those like fan animations.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
No, that's.
Which makes it all the more special because like it just tells you the type of people that were writing this.
I gotta
Like,
say, like,
how-
I think for the first 2 Sonic movies, like, I wasn't, like, I was okay with the humor, but I wasn't that on board with it. But I actually found this, maybe I was just in a good mood, because
No, I think
but I thought this
I
movie
think-
was quite funny.
I think 3 hit a sweet spot, but I think that's a lot to do with Team Sonic being together, all together, like in this 3rd movie from the start, like allowed for that chemistry magic to hit.
Yeah, they get to play off each other. But I
Where,
really,
like, in the
I thought Jim Carrey was on his A game as well.
Oh no, I think no. That was this was my favorite Eggman performance and Jim Carrey performance of the trilogy. Absolutely. I think also part of what helped there is that like he had more material to work off of through himself through Gerald Robotnik. I guess jumping into the elephant in the room, like Gerald Robotnik being alive in the Sonic Adventure 2, like the adaptation movie was an interesting choice that I think worked well to separate out the movie from the game and like both like fit into the themes that the movies have been telling while also like giving Eggman an arc that worked for the movie, the 3 movies.
Yeah, I think everything, like when you look at Sonic Adventure 2 on its own, like I would have thought that it is like barely or not adaptable to film.
Yes.
But like the amount of streamlining they did and like just tying everything together in a cohesive way, like made the movie feel way more coherent than you would expect. And I think, putting Gerald into the movie was a part of that.
And it's like my only complaint, and this is a complaint coming from someone who's a Sonic fan, not like looking like a fan of like the series,
Yeah.
and not like looking at the movie as its own thing. This is a pure comparison thing. My only like mild complaint with Gerald is and this kind of ties to the Shadow backstory, is not having it tied to him trying to make a cure for Maria. Like I think removing that took away from his big reveal motivation at the end, like that like nihilistic turn.
Yeah. Well,
but,
I
like,
mean, in the
it
games,
wasn't-
Maria is like this perfect paragon of innocence and like struck by tragedy. It's like, well, yeah, like I guess you can see how that might happen. Like it's like the most innocent and vulnerable creature ever killed randomly, sort of turned him. But I guess like I think it's kind of neat that I saw in another video someone talking about how like Maria in the movie is like she's cool and she's important to them, but she's also not like deified. She's just like a kid.
Yeah, no,
And I think that's kind of cool.
yeah, and I think given that that like that takes place in the 70s, I think that tonally works well with when those testing facilities. I feel like that like undeifying of Maria, like maybe there's a way to do it like better, because I feel like in some ways she still is kind of just deified. She's just not like it's like I think you could have had that moment of like, oh, like she's got this incurable disease that like maybe like let's say like it's a cancer sort of thing, like if she's like you can have that still sort of like you could not change any of like what you see, like she's just completely fine and you never see her like take a turn, because I think that's sort of like what happens in the games anyways, whereas like you never like really see her like super sick.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't know if you watched the Shadow Dark Beginnings animations before the.
I did, but like
game.
I kind of just vibing through it.
I think that they, I mean, for how small those are, I think they do a lot of extra work there. But that is like ancillary material released like decades after Adventure 2.
I'm just like thinking right now in terms of like the motivations for Ivo Robotnik, well Gerald Robotnik, being like him just being a researcher, and Shadow just being like this mysterious alien thing that fell to the ground. Like I think there is some core to like their motivations that like, and so I guess in some ways was just streamlined for like a kid, like
no, but
for like the audience.
I get what you're saying. Like the original version has a lot of intrigue. Like if you haven't already, I'd definitely recommend reading the Gerald journals from Sonic Shadow Generations.
I'll have to do that.
That kind of slow like, the twisted motivations and the slow like descent into madness and all the pressure is like really interestingly captured in that. That's one of my favorite things about the game. But
I'll have to give it a read and give the game a second shot with the new DLC that's overpriced.
No, don't buy the new DLC.
But I'll wait till like it's on sale. Don't worry. I'm
sure. No, don't. It's trash. But
watch me love it. Watch me love it after all this shit.
Sure. But anyway, in the movie version, like I think part of what they did to Maria was like make her a stronger parallel to Tom, where it's like, again, like Sonic and Shadow have like the whole point is that they have a lot in common. They have a similar kind of backstory of being a lonely alien and then finding a friend. But like, Shadow loses his, and then Sonic almost goes down the same path when he thinks he's lost his own one. And yeah, like Maria is like she doesn't have to be like a god, but like she was everything to Shadow,
Yeah.
And just what we're talking about, like I like that she's like kind of mischievous and like gets into trouble and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I think those parts, like I have absolutely no issues with Maria's characterization.
Yeah.
I think with what they were trying to do the story, I think she fits very well. Like I'm like my like as that nitpick earlier has literally only to do with Ivo with Gerald.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep fucking up Ivo.
Gerald wanting to
like
destroy the entire world. Yeah.
Yeah, like Gerald's motivation, and then like Sonic, like, and then what was it, fucking Shadow, not being like created using like in the same, like him just like, I'm not sure how particularly I feel about him just being like this.
Yeah,
like,
because
this
in the game universe, like there's this nice angle of like I was created, like Gerald is very much like my father, and I was made to cure Maria, and I don't know how to do that, or like why do I exist is like kind of a theme there. Which is sort of there in the movie, but not as much, because
it's just kind of just like amnesia. Like he just has like amnesia, so he's just like, why do I exist? And it, I guess, in some ways, it does make his connection with Maria feel more natural, in the sense where they just naturally like become friends, and so he cares about her, as opposed to like being told that he has to care about her.
Yeah, it's kind of his destiny to care about her originally, when it's a chance encounter in the movies and just kind of a normal thing.
But that just kind of goes back to like the give and take of like these adaptations, and like the other like big thing that is I think easier to forget with Sonic 3 compared to the previous movies, that like this is still a kids movie, like despite like the darker butt rockiness of this, it's still like a kids movie.
I think the
and
tone is really, really well handled. Like
Yeah.
in terms of
So
being
much better
funny
than
and dramatic and serious, but also silly. Like I really like
so
that.
much better than like what they balanced with the second movie.
Yeah.
I feel like this was definitely a step up from the second movie, in my opinion. I think like if we're in comparisons, like I think the first movie is still an overall tighter movie, but I think the third movie definitely has some higher highs than what the first movie was able to hit.
100% agree. Yeah, the highs are way higher. Dude, just the action set pieces are absolutely
Oh, yeah.
insane. There's more interesting character stuff going on. It's just like, as a story, it's like naturally more. Well, actually, like I want to say that the story is naturally more complicated, and it is, but like there's also decisions made in Sonic 3 that really just feels like they were given a blank check to do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Like they would never like that whole like encounter in the gun base where there's the gravity that's making them go up and down. Like that would not a scene like that would have been cut from the first movie because it'd be like this is not worth the money for like the ad to the film.
Okay, you say that, but I feel like this movie needs like an extra 30 minutes director's cut for like all the gun stuff, because like the gun subplot just feels like it. So I mean, okay, I'll start from the beginning. Let me break down here. It's like we're going through suddenly like you meet up with what was the director guy's name again?
Walters.
Walters. So like we meet they meet up with Walters. He's suddenly killed off. He's like suddenly like, oh yeah, I trust you more than anybody, Sonic. Even though there's like really no establishment for like
they don't have any relationship. Yeah, if anything, he's an antagonistic force.
So like the implication there is that he doesn't trust the people at Gun, which like you can maybe say like if you've watched the Knuckles show.
Yeah, that's
like,
true. Those guys went rogue in the Knuckles show. I didn't even think about that.
That's like so like in Knuckles, like we have precedents for people going rogue, but like I would expect some explanation of that in the Knuckles in the new movie.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of like happens like and like even so like why I specifically trust Sonic if he doesn't trust Gun.
Well, I want to be clear.
and-
I didn't mean like we shouldn't have spent time at the gun base or with Gun. I'm saying like the whole premise of that action set piece is not like I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah,
but
I
it's
see what you
not, but
mean,
it's not like super necessary. Like that you could write in like a couple of scenes where characters just talk to each other in rooms and probably use that space better and for way less money.
Well, I think so.
I liked it.
Okay, so I guess more what I'm trying to say is that like I feel like that feels like a waste of time because Gun like Gun as an entity, like why are we even here trying to steal the key? Like there's no real stakes to that scene. Like
well, they're trying to get the keys to the Eclipse cannon so the bad guys don't use it, I guess. I mean that's
like,
one part where like the plot felt pretty secondary to like the character stuff.
But like I guess, but like they're planning on going in there and stealing, but even before they know Eggman's going over there. Like and like to the extent they can be like, oh, we just need to stop Eggman. Like there's like the idea.
I guess they're taking it as like the mission that Walters gave them or whatever. I mean, clearly bad forces want it, but like you know, it is kind of like abstract as a motivation.
Like and I guess like where I'm trying to say is like it's not that I have issues with that subplot. I'm just saying like there needed to be something more there. Like it feels like cut content of like okay, like this like lady who's taken over like as Walter's position.
They had to have cut scenes with her because she just gets deleted from the movie after that sequence.
Yeah, it's like she is very clearly supposed to be like a sub antagonistic role, and she just completely. As I said, like it feels like there's supposed to be like a director's cut where like you see more of her motivations and like oh she wants to, like let's just like theoretically she wants to get the cannon to destroy like the aliens. Like I would have accepted something like as simple as that.
She doesn't have a resolution.
Yeah.
It's like she just goes home at one point and it's just like
well it's not just she has a resolution, it's like she has absolutely like no purpose or motivation in the movie.
I guess she just wants Gun to have the keys because the Gun's supposed it feels like something was cut. It might have been for the better ultimately if like they probably like watched the director's cut and they're like this is too much and it was probably a bit too late to swerve.
Yeah, but at that point, if it's too late to swerve, it's like, do you like? And that leaves the question: is like, okay, well, they already had the scene of like them in that gravity chamber thing, And it's like you can't really cut that scene because that's how they get the key.
Well, it
But
also is a chain of events that leads to Tom getting like punched with superpowers. Also, it's a good scene. Like, well, yeah, I mean, like several scenes revolve around this pod, and lots of character moments have happened along the way and after. And also, Eggman and Kristen Ritter, or whatever her character's name is in this, inching together, like worming together, like to get the key was really funny.
But I guess,
and I was like, "Ooh, crazy gadget reference," or whatever that stage is called.
But like, I know we're talking about like how it feels like there wasn't enough time for the gun stuff. Like things were cut out. It feels a bit like odd there, and he's a director's cut. But like, I also want to say like, I'm fine having this criticism because it feels like a direct step up from what they were doing in the second movie, where the second movie felt like you're having two entirely different movies that were
everything's
jammed
interconnected
together.
here, and gun actually feels like a thing, and it feels like it matters. And you know, just because I can't think of a better time to talk about this, and we were just talking about Maria, I'm glad they didn't try to like they just let Gun be a really flawed organization, and they I think the way they handled Maria's death was like, I was impressed because I was thinking like, well, they can't have her just shoot her, but like they do everything except that. It's like, okay, someone was gonna shoot her, like he was genuinely gonna like shoot at them, and then like someone else like try to step in and redirect the fire, and then they fired, and then that accidentally killed her anyway. Or it's like that is like they found like a relatively like the most family friendly way to incorporate basically the exact same event.
Yeah. But that for me, like that was like one of those things. Like I really liked how like they adapted for the movie. It's like I'm still a bit mixed like the changes for Walter in this movie, but like that literally has more to do with his previous previous portrayals in the first two movies.
Yeah.
Like him like being the person who's like, oh no, I'm gonna take the initiative and like start to like stop them from firing. I'm gonna trust Sonic. It feels like an odd direction of this character without like.
Oh, it is an oddly heroic and like cool thing for this guy who's like, yeah,
he's a Panera Bread guy.
Yeah, it doesn't. The thing is, like, I guess it may as well be him because like it's better if it's a named character that tries to stop him. And I don't know. But I like that. You know what's kind of neat though is that like the thing that makes it interesting about him is that he knows exactly what happened back then. And he doesn't really explain to Sonic what happened to Maria when he's giving him the quest.
So I've kind of got two ideas around this. One is like I super do wonder if there was some cutscene prior to that where like he kind of like is remembering this, like, or maybe like even like talks with Gerald or something, like where he like it puts him in this state of like where he goes and meets Sonic and crew, and I can easily see that being a scene that's like in the initial draft and then is cut. That just seems obvious to me, or at least in the talking room before, like even while the script's being written, even if it's not specifically written. But I think the second thing, in some ways, it recontextualizes his relationship with the alien, like Sonic, Knuckles, and whatnot, and like because. In all honesty, like I think we can all agree it's kind of weird that this like military guy has just been okay with just letting them hang out in Green Hills.
Yeah, maybe he feels a little bit of guilt about the past or something. Yeah. But like obviously he still is interested in getting them because the power is, he knows that, you know, it was gonna maybe power the whole world or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I like
so,
that. Oh, go on.
So, but I think that's kind of like what some of the Knuckles show kind of did at the start. Was like they're like, what the fuck? Why are we just like watching these guys in Green Hill? Like we should be like, there's like Knuckles has like this direct commentary of like, why aren't we just destroying these aliens, or like why aren't we just like using them for research or whatever? Like why are we just watching them? And I think there like is an attempt like throughout there to be like, oh, Walter's being a bit weird about the fact that like he's just laissez-faire about letting them survive, like just like live in Green Hills and like run around. And I think the backstory with Shadow contextualizes that. I think I would have liked it a bit more explicit contextualization.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of this conversation I'm finding up really interesting, and I didn't think about it at all during the movie because Walter is just like on screen for 5 minutes and then dies. But it is cool. Like in general, like I think Gunn has handled well because I was one of the people who thought like, man, I don't think that the Sonic movies are willing to portray like the American government in such a potentially negative way.
But this is why they put it in London.
Oh, I guess so. But you know, like still, like these movies. I mean, the first movie is about Sonic making friends with like a police officer and like it not that I expect, you know, the Sonic movies to like go like defund the police or anything like that. But I thought that they might be a bit more like, you know, like I half expected Maria's death to just be completely an accident or something, and Gunn did nothing wrong. But Gunn is allowed to be like a flawed organization that has some bad eggs.
Yeah, I mean, like to be completely fair, it's like even like in the first movie, it's like Robotnik works with the U.S. government, you know, like, and they just covered him up and disappeared him at the end.
Yeah, I guess they're always shady, but like the tone of the previous films doesn't really go there. I guess.
Though I would even say like the fact that like it wasn't that they specifically shot them, it that like Walter stepped in and tried to stop the fire, and it was caused by an accident that Gunn caused. Like you're not like really fully saying like this like, but like what I would even say from like the games like portrayed as like more of like I wouldn't say like more sinister, but like a more like gives no fuck autocratic sort of organization in the games.
Yeah,
like,
because
I think you're just seeing kind of like a goofy, flawed.
It is interesting because like, you know, it's because I guess in the movie like that soldier is kind of acting against what other people there want to happen, so it's a bit more like, you know, like a bad egg rather than like a systemic like ruthlessness. But I mean you could kind of put it, I think you could interpret it the other way in that like Walters is like one of the only guys who like is actually kind of a nice guy, which
is, I mean, I definitely think there's a big part of that where like I think some of the theming within Sonic has been like you're gonna get like these bad actors and like these organizations trying to do, like, I mean, Knuckles has that, but like I think what's really interesting with this recharacterization of Walters is because he is so much more ruthless in the games.
The equivalent character in the games,
like the equivalent character in the game, like who was like rather than like being this other soldier, there's like he was a kid on the base as well or whatever, like he was like
right.
Seeing this
dude, I didn't even really think about how this is kind of weirdly an adaptation of the fact that the gun commander in the games has a past connection with. That's man, this is crazy.
No, but I think that's just where like a lot of attention and detail and love, like, from the games was translated into this kid's movie.
Like I was so, it's just so cool seeing like it is the movie verse. It does have like the broad appeal and like the stuff for kids and all that, but like it's also really true to the games, and it doesn't feel like these are two aspects fighting each other like I occasionally felt like it was in the previous movies. Like it's one coherent, cohesive thing.
And it's like, and I kind of like want to take that and segue that into like Jim Carrey's performance. Because I mentioned earlier, I felt like this was his best Eggman performance, but like I remember like back like when Sonic 1 came out, like there was like at least with me feeling it's like feeling that this really isn't like Eggman, like this is just like a Jim Carrey sort of character, like he's the idea of like Eggman in the first movie like is like not the iconography of what we grew up with, but like watching him slowly devolve into the Sonic 3, and it's like this is Eggman. This is just.
No, like, it's better this way. Well, like now that I've seen it all, I'm like, it's cool because in the first movie, like he is unhinged and evil and power hungry and all of that stuff, but like he's more of like a human being, and he's like, you know, I'm like an orphan, and I only rely on my intellect, and like I just like have this desperate need to like, you know, put other people down, and then like it's like as he loses more and becomes more lonely, he becomes more fucked up and more like kind of zany in that sense, but like it's still rooted in the same loneliness from the first movie, just like made worse. So I mean, putting Gerald in the film is a great way to further explore his character, while also just getting more and more crazy, you know, video game feeling stuff.
And I feel like also it's like Jim Carrey was able to capture like like because like you don't see it all the time in the games, but like you do see those moments of like Eggman actually like having like, an emotional heart. I mean, Frontiers is probably the best example. But,
Yeah,
like,
but even Adventure
there-
2, he, at the end, he's like,
Yeah.
"Is this really what my grandfather wanted?" You know?
Yeah, it's like there are points where I'm watching this and I'm like, did Jim Carrey like sit through this cutscenes of the game and take notes? Because there were times where like I'm feeling those same exact sort of emotional beats that like you would see from like Eggman in the game. Like when he's like feeling that sadness or like him like being like I don't know.
I think he's just on the right wavelength. I think like
Yeah.
when different, like and that different like creatives have looked at the same character and drawn the same conclusion of like this guy is all by himself with only robots to be friends, and he has this huge ego, no one to recognize him, and he just wants to like turn the whole world into like his fucking robot face or whatever. It's like, yeah, there's some pathos there if you look for it.
Yeah. Yep. And I think really the highlight for me was like that moment where like Gerald's like plan was revealed and he's like Gerald is just like gone complete nihilism.
Yeah.
And it's like and just like this like that sadness in his voice, but also that determination. Like there was like it I don't like I was just like kind of like taken aback there. And then like combined with like Jim Carrey doing a phenomenal job acting against himself.
Oh no, it's great. Well,
Like-
Jim Carrey is a really good actor. Like he
Yeah.
can do comedy and he can do drama, and I think he
Yeah.
like gives us a little bit of both in this film.
Yeah, but
like
I think-
I really
but-
liked even like in like the Maria death flashback, like immediately like I was taking crazy Jim Carrey and prosthetics character like seriously, or he comes and he's like, kids, like we need to go, and I'm like, that's really adorable and tragic that he calls them both like the kids. It's like, yeah, no, he's good.
Yep. No, I'm just like I'm just like even thinking back, like he's a great actor, but like acting, like basically acting and responding against nothing in that sense, like where if he doesn't have another person in the room with him that's actually like giving those same
'cause
deliveries.
You feel the chemistry between the two performances, but like he filmed them like a day apart or something. So it's like, how did this work?
Like and not even like this, like I mean you already kind of like see that magic with everybody like doing it to the CGI characters, but like it's so different like being the same character that you're talking to.
Yeah, and there's such like weird characters to be bouncing off each other as well. Like,
and it's not like
Eggman as a character and Gerald have a lot more to chew on than say like Tom or Maddie or whoever.
Yeah.
Like they're quite like
Well,
three-dimensional.
And I think one of the like kind of like go back to some of the themes, like some of the juxtapositions that they've done in the like they've taken like this like Sonic Shadow juxtaposition and then put it into the Ivo Gerald, they having those two characters juxtapose each other. Like I think there's just a lot of really good both like theming and staging there.
I just think it's crazy that we're having like an in-depth conversation about Gerald Robotnik from like a huge blockbuster movie. Like I saw like a clip on Twitter recently where like Stephen Colbert is talking about Shadow and Maria, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
2024 is a wild time to live, man.
Man, like video game movies have never been so good, man. Like
Yeah, well, I mean, just video game adaptations. I mean, Arcane's
yeah.
awesome. Castlevania.
I guess yeah. Well,
Like
the-
we're in
the
a golden
Hollywood-
age now.
The Hollywood movie is hard, is like hard material, like it's hard to write and make regardless. And like on its surface, like I don't think Sonic necessarily even is an easy thing to make into a Hollywood movie.
No, I mean, we all thought that it was gonna suck at first, and
I mean,
I think most games are like that. I mean, like I wouldn't quite say we're in the era where video game movies are good, because I think the Sonic movies are A, an exception to the rule, and B, like overall, it's not like they're like super high art films or something, but they are genuinely just quite likable. I think this is so much better than the Mario movie, man. There's no need to be petty like that, but like, and I even
mean
like
the
the Mario movie, but like,
You mean the animated one or the live action one?
I haven't seen the live action one. I really want to. I've been meaning to for
Okay,
years.
I haven't seen the animated.
The animated one is fun, but like, it's just
I
there's
think-
not
I think
really a
they're probably-
story.
I mean, I think probably gonna go with the animated ones. It's too easy to take just like do the cheat and like just kind of do a straight adaptation. Where when you're doing the live like you can't cheat when you're doing a live live action adaptation. You have to like. There's so many more considerations.
You gotta flesh out characters, and like it's not just a purely action based thing. Though you might be forgiven for thinking that because this movie is like a crazy fucking action movie.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, once you go live action, like, people start taking you seriously.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're in animation, like, you can get away with shit, and it's like the suspension of disbelief is completely different. But, I guess like going, so we've talked a lot about like Eggman, like
And
the movie and
Maria,
whatnot.
yeah.
It's crazy that we haven't really like talked about Shadow or Keanu at all.
Well, I mean, I just like, I thought he was great. I thought it was a great part of the movie. Kind of a bit less of him than I expected, honestly. But it wasn't like a bad surprise to get more focus on the Eggman. But for where Shadow was there, I think he was awesome. Even as like a streamlined and simplified version of like the backstory, I thought they nailed the kind of emotional beats and his personality and motivations. And just great like screen presence, I guess. I think Keanu does a really, like, he does nail it. And he looks so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh my god, I don't even know where to start. I'm like, my brain's just whirring. I'm
So
like,
I think
they have a fucking Super Saiyan fight, and like,
I know. I think the first thing that like kind of stands out to me about movie Shadow versus game Shadow, because to me like they're obviously just two completely separate entities, and their backstories being different are gonna affect that. But like with movie Shadow, you really get this feeling of like this guy that's like been living for 50 years, like in his head and whatnot. Like there's like a tiredness, a fatigue to him, as opposed to like this unbridled rage and energy that like game Shadow has.
I think he's pretty. I think the portrayal between this and Dark Beginnings feels pretty. I mean, I guess they're in very different places, but like,
Yeah.
I think that there's a decent amount of parody there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Shadow's character is often not very well captured in the games, as a lot of the characters aren't. It drives me crazy how often I see people saying like, you got this character wrong. In the games, he was like this. And then you go and look at the game, and it's like the most ridiculously weirdly animated and voice acted cutscene you've ever seen.
Well, I guess I guess more so like what I'm trying to say is like Sonic. Well, Shadow in the games is, I guess he's still like a cartoon character.
Yeah. It depends heavily on the game, to be honest.
Yeah, but like I feel like with Shadow in the game is like there's like this constant sense of like him trying to figure out. I don't know, like if it's just like figure out what like it feels like in the games he never like really has the answers. He's always the one searching for the answers. Yeah. Where I feel like in the movie he's the character that kind of has everything figured out, even though he's kind of not on the right. I guess like I guess the way that I would put it is that like there is this weird sort of like in the fight between Shadow and Sonic of like this high level of self-awareness from Shadow.
Yeah, no, he's got like he has conviction. He's not really questioning himself too much. Yeah, you buy into his sadness as motivations, and it feels like he's thought about it, and he's like, yeah, this is like during the Sonic and Shadow fight, like it feels like even though Shadow's kind of doing the wrong thing, like it feels like he's the one with more self-awareness and more like, I don't want to say wisdom, but just like in terms of their like their like dialogue exchanges, like it always feels like he has the upper hand, and it's not until Sonic like realizes for himself that he's doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's just I find it so like it was just like that like I don't think I would ever like, and granted this is also just completely different dynamics. Like I don't think you'd ever see Sonic in that position of like trying to get revenge like that.
No,
in the games.
Yeah, game Sonic is like definitely the guy who has it all figured out, and he's like Goku or something, where everyone kind of changes around him rather than. Yeah, but like it's like, in the movies he's very much it's like a growing up.
He's a kid.
Story,
yeah, and it's. So it's like you have this kid and you have like this like adult character sort of, and like you have like Shadow lecturing Sonic, which is something you would never see in the game, and I think it was a great dynamic to see in the movie.
Yeah, I mean it's almost a bit Sonic Prime-ish, but good.
Yeah. I need to finish Sonic Prime.
No, you don't. Stop.
I'm gonna watch it just so you feel so just like you get hurt.
Oh my god, dude. That's just that's slop.
Yep. But no, I really like the direction they took with Shadow. Yes, I think I would have liked to see more screen time with him, but I guess end credits scene, like, if we're gonna maybe see more Shadow. I've got questions about that end credits scene because I'm super confused what the deal with the Metal Sonics are, because those are like, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the Sonic head here. But, like, Eggman created Metal Sonic, or am I completely off my marker? Yeah. So, like, I don't know what they're gonna do with Metal Sonic in the movie. Like, my worst case scenario is the fourth movie is gonna do multiverse bullshit, because, like, I don't know where they go adapting the story next in terms of the games. Because Metal Sonic and Amy don't make sense for the Sonic game. Like, well, like Sonic the Hedgehog 2006.
No, well, I mean, they don't have to adapt everything in order. Like, it could just be like a Sonic CD kind of thing.
Yeah,
because that's where they're introduced. Oh, sorry.
I guess Sonic CD has some time travel in it, so that makes sense. I'm very unfamiliar with Sonic CD outside of, like, some of its mechanic stuff, so you're gonna have to learn me there.
I mean, there's not a whole lot going on. I'm just saying that, like, the next major story doesn't have to be like an '06 adaptation. I mean, it could be all kinds of things.
I guess
it could be a Shadow the Hedgehog adaptation. Honestly, if
yeah.
we check the Black Arms in there.
My question had more to do with like, you have, like, this, like, so Amy first appeared in Adventure 1, if I'm correct,
as a playable character, but she technically debuts in CD.
Okay, so I guess theoretically it'd be a CD adaptation, but, like, I guess jumping back in time for because, like, Metal Sonic was Sonic 2.
Well, that one has a robot Sonic, but he's from Sonic CD, but Sonic 2 also is a Sonic robot.
Okay, so the next movie is probably Sonic CD then. Is that what we're saying?
I mean, maybe. I don't fucking know. I mean, like, it's already diverging a lot. I mean, like, in Sonic CD, Amy is like a helpless damsel. In this movie, she's apparently like fucking.
Yeah, okay. We can fully expect all the characters to be completely different than, like, their game counterparts from the times, or at least, let's say completely different. I mean, like,
they take liberties.
Liberties closer to, like, some of their more modern portrayals as opposed to the past portrayals.
Yeah, because Amy in the games at the moment is like. I mean, in the fucking Frontiers DLC, she was like shooting like magic like cards everywhere and stuff. She's like,
yeah, but Sega needs to make sure the movies are on current brand.
Yeah, Amy is like a cool action character these days.
Yeah, she's not going around singing about papayas.
Basically, I don't know what the next movie is about. But
yeah, I guess the safest thing is, like, since they have Amy and, like, Metal Sonic, it's probably loosely around Sonic CD.
I imagine they might be combining some aspects of CD with '06, and because there's 2 time travel stories in Sonic, not counting Generations, but that doesn't even make sense in this context. Yeah, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, you were asking about Metal Sonic. Like, didn't Eggman make him? I mean, it's possible Eggman made him off screen before he got here. Yeah, it's like, because, like, something everyone was talking about when the first trailer came out was, like, Sonic gives Eggman one of his quills right at the start of the movie, and that doesn't really go anywhere. And I guess where it goes that he uses the supercharged version of it to kill Gerald in the most, like, jaw-dropping comic bit in the whole film.
I have mixed feelings, but I'm gonna give that a thumbs up.
It's incredible. Like, so much drama has just happened, and they've been fighting for, like, what feels like 20 minutes, and suddenly, like, before you even have, like, a moment to process it, says, like,
the editor for that scene, like, made that zap thing happen. He showed his boss, and they're like, and they just were like, did, like, a
The sense of timing or, like, lack thereof is so good.
Yeah, like, that could only work on a Sonic movie, though.
It's. I don't know. It really caught me off guard.
Yeah, no, I think it caught everybody off guard.
But oh, you go.
But I guess, like, going like questions, like, yeah, it's like, and this is where, like, I think a kind of a broader question going into sequels. It's we're starting to get some pretty big name characters and actors in there. I don't know if Jim Carrey would be willing to return for a fourth movie. And like just given like how good of a place Eggman ends up like narrative wise in the third movie.
Yeah, no, it
I know,
feels
like,
it's really tight, and it feels like a good ending to the character. And it seems like Jim Carrey's been thinking about getting out of this for a while. But
Yeah.
I do think
And-
they also wrote it in a way where they could justify.
Yeah, no, but they literally did the same thing with the first. Well, they literally did the same thing with the second movie. They literally like
this
they-
just
they wrote
feels
the
a little
second-
bit more lethal for him to be in the middle of an exploding fucking
yeah.
space station. But
But this is still the same universe where they have like those teleporting rings. Someone could have easily. I mean, like Shadow survived that, and I'm like theoretically, I guess, depending on like, assuming that was his foot at the end.
do you want to know my
like-
my crackpot possibility here?
Yeah.
I think it's possible that whether it's a new actor or not, that we end up with a sort of new Eggman, because in the Archie comics, the original Eggman dies like 50 issues in, and then like
Interesting.
but there's like a robot copy of him that like becomes the new Eggman. So like I can see them like maybe they could do something like that where it's like, okay, now we have a new actor, so we can still like fulfill this role in the plot, but it's technically a different character.
Agent Stone finds robot Nick.
I love Agent Stone, man. I'm glad
Agent
that
Stone's
he's around.
Yeah.
I don't think he's main villain material.
Oh no. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that like he just like finds like a robot like it's like he finds like a robot version of like a younger Ivo Robotnik, and it's played by a different guy.
Yeah, who knows?
But I think there's this is the Sonic movies. They can pretty much do whatever the fuck they want with that. Right?
Wade's old
I'm thinking
bowling
about,
partner is going to show up and be the next villain.
yes. The thing I'm just thinking now is like, okay, so like presumably Keanu's coming back in the future for
Yeah.
more shadow roles. Theoretically, they could have Jim Carrey come back, but I'm gonna press F to doubt there because like I don't even want to look at the cast budgets for having both Keanu and
and Jim Carrey twice.
Carrey. And not I can't imagine James Marsden's cheap either.
Yeah. But I mean, Jim Carrey and Keanu Reeves are like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
I don't know. I don't know if money is a problem here, but
It's. I mean, here's the thing. It's like. It's like now that like Sonic 3 like was as successful as it is, like yes, like I don't think money is as a concern.
yeah.
But I think there's always like those questions of like when you're setting up these movie universes that like you're planning on making consecutive sequels. Like they're making a fourth movie, they'll probably make a fifth movie.
you have to plant seeds. You have to like move forward,
Yeah,
or else you're stuck.
Yeah, you have to plant seeds, but you also have to plan efficiently. And Sonic's a franchise with so many characters, and they can't just keep like be bringing back like it can't be like I mean like let's say like they have some like big name actress like doing like Amy, like what's the most expensive actress you can think of off the top of your head that they could have play Amy?
I don't know, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, let's say they have Scarlett Johansson play Amy. Let's just throw that out there. Like that is like just like if we're talking about like money wise, that is just a straight skyrocketing of cost just by adding one character, and then that character is going to stick around, and you can recast, but people are going to notice.
No,
and
you can't. You really can't in this context.
It's like the reality is like unless if Keanu refused to come back.
If Keanu doesn't come back, you just don't include the character in the movie. I feel like.
Exactly. You don't bring back the character unless it's like a multiverse different version type of the character.
No, it is like I don't really envy the people in charge of this right now, because it's like the story's just gonna keep becoming bigger and bigger. There's gonna be more and more characters, and people are gonna be disappointed if their favorite character isn't in it. And then you've got like all these A-listers, and more CG to do. You know, like I think the worst thing about losing Jim Carrey potentially is that like he is like such a big part of the entertainment value of the movie, and he is at least like he's just like a person actor. Like they don't have to animate every second he's on screen. Like
Well, but he's also so animated as an actor. Too.
yeah. Anyway,
Like,
oh god.
Yeah, no, I'm just like I was just like thinking that's like it's one of those things like given where the franchise goes from here, it's like yes, I could see value in there being like a Shadow, like Black Arms, but I feel like that's gonna be more of a Paramount Plus sort of deal than like
It
or like
depends
a,
on like what the Black Arms look like.
yeah.
Dude,
I'm just like thinking
they should make the Black Arms look like Doctor Who costumes or whatever,
Yeah.
and do it
Yeah,
low budget. That'll be awesome.
yeah. I guess more like I'm thinking it's like if they were to adapt the Shadow game, like that story, like I don't see them making a full feature length movie out of that. But like after watching the Knuckles show, I do not see them doing a bunch of CG for like the Black Arms.
No, a Shadow spinoff would be like him like learning how to like run a hot dog stand or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then like the Black Arms would like show up on the last episode and be like 3 of them.
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, like, I'll be complete. I will say, given like the themes of like family and whatnot, I think at least having like they could do a show and not even have the full Black Arms, and just like have Black Doom, and I think that could work.
Well, yeah. Of course, that is like his whole family line thing, and they did literally have him like come to Earth like on a comet. Like, they've clearly left the door open there. I just wonder if they'll actually do it. Here's my last crackpot theory, and then maybe we should wrap this up because it's been close to an hour. Even though we didn't talk about Sonic and Tails and Knuckles at all, it's fine.
There's nothing to talk about them. They're perfect.
They're great. So, in Sonic Shadow Generations, Gerald Diary, we learned that Maria's parents actually had another kid, and like after Maria, and a long time ago there was concept like years ago there was concept art revealed for like a human character like of this woman with pink hair, in like one of the like Tales Tube videos or something like that, and they'd be like, oh, like keep an eye out, this character will show up eventually, and she hasn't been in jack shit or even been referenced at all until in this movie she appears randomly on a billboard.
That's hilarious.
And so it's like, what the fuck is going on? But it seems like it's possible that is Maria's sister or niece, and so there is another Robotnik out there probably that maybe we could wrap into the story. So there you go. Next movie, Eggman is a robot replacement with a new actor, or pink-haired Robotnik steps in.
Or both.
Or both.
So I guess like quick rapid fire thoughts to finish this off. For me, I thought the Chow Garden being included as like a cafe was a great idea because I don't think there's any way for them to actually make the chows work, but they have that little scene in there was really cute.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed like both Helen and I really enjoyed the Want You Back in Japanese randomly. We listened to the full version of that when we got home.
Dude, I love that song. Like the fact that that song appeared in a song movie, I'm like, everything about this is for me.
Yeah. And then final thought, like, and I share this in the DMs, but like I had like an audible yes when Neon Lights by One OK Rock started playing.
Oh yeah.
Like, as the titular big One OK Rock fan of Bros in a Landfill, I liked them before they were cool with Vandalize. Vandalize isn't even my favorite song from that album. But like just randomly seeing them like kind of like back in like mainstream music, like I say like mainstream music, like there's like internationally very like relevant, but like in media, like them doing like Vandalize, they did the Beyblade opening for the new series.
So sick.
And then like to hear this another song from the album, like probably the catchiest song on the album, just pure raw catchy kind of like Queen sounding song, Neon Lights. They had the like instrumental of it playing in the background for a bit, and like my brain didn't want to believe it. It's like I know this song, and then they go Neon Lights. I'm like yes.
Dude, I wish I was in the cinema with you because
I mean, it wasn't that audible because I'm a very polite watcher.
Yeah, but like if I was sitting next to you, you'd be like, I
was gleaming.
That's awesome.
It was impossible for me to hate the movie. Like they could have made all the wrong, terrible movie writing decisions after that.
But they put OK Rock.
Yep. I will say, I guess like one final thought. I think if there's also another thing that Sonic 3 did very well is I think, especially like since we haven't talked about Team Sonic a lot, I think it showed that Team Sonic and like even like Shadow as a character are well-rounded characters with enough diversity. Like I know not diversity, like enough like this specific portrayal, them all having good chemistry as a team.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I think is a good sign going forward because I think there's actually like compared to the previous movies, there's so much less actual human element in terms of like the Marsden, like James Marsden's character, like Tom and
the
like,
human element is like entirely the Robotniks.
Yeah, I think what's kind of like it's kind of going. I feel like this was the first movie that really felt like an adaptation of the games, as opposed to like a retelling of the games in a Hollywood movie. And I think this is kind of allowing for a direction where like I like Tom and I like that whole like family dynamic.
Yeah.
But like Sonic and the crew need to grow up from that at some point.
Yeah, no, and they were still used a good emotional effect in the film, even with their little role.
Yeah.
Because like triggering Sonic's rage. Yeah, no, great stuff. All right, I'll give 2 final thoughts as well, since you gave 2 final thoughts. Thought number
I have
1.
more than 2, but okay.
Huh?
I have more than 2, but
But
okay.
yeah, but you said okay. I'll give you 2. Number 1.
Yeah.
I think the BioLizard cameo was really smart and a great way to do fan service while also servicing the actual movie. Because I don't know if you caught it, but it's when Shadow's watching like Shadow and Marie are like watching old timey horror movies together. Or like monster movies, and like it's like, oh, here's the big disgusting alien, and it's the BioLizard. And Shadow's like, oh, is that like what people think of me? Because like that's the kind of relationship Shadow has the BioLizard to begin with, where it's like,
Yep.
So like serves the character in the exact same way, but like couldn't fit into the movie as like a final boss fight. But it's right there, and it is like a cheesy old school monster. So really cool. And final thought number 2. You said at the beginning of this that would come out of this with you thinking that you hated the movie, even though you loved it. And you didn't have much negative to say this whole time. So
But it was just guns. It just I needed more gun stuff.
True. You need more gun.
Yep. So 2 more final thoughts. Because like you might remind me of the Maria stuff. At the start of the movie when like she was like playing the guitar and that was like that little riff of like Live and Learn. I thought that was just
yes.
That was that when that played, you knew that you were gonna watch something good because these were like you don't do that if you're not like big Sonic fans.
They signal that at the beginning that like I was in the right theater.
It's like there's like they signal at the beginning that's like we are fellow Sonic fans. It's like any it's like any other like studio that like does an adaptation stuff. Like you don't see that sort of attention to detail of like putting like little fan service things in there like that. And it's same thing with the BioLizard. Like the use of the BioLizard as a fan service thing there is like very intentional, not just like, oh, let's just plaster like we just like have a poster that says BioLizard. It's like, hey, look, we know about the games. This is like no, this is like a very intentional like reflecting the relationship of BioLizard from the games in a novel way for what works in the movie.
No, perfect. No notes.
And final thought. I can't believe they pissed on the moon.
Straight up. I love how they like took a moment that was like a terrifying display of power in the games and turned it into a hilarious accidental comic beat in the movie, and it didn't take away from it at all because like the overall plot of what was happening was like so faithful and sincere. Yeah, like oops.
Oops,
really
I pissed
good.
on the moon. I've come to make an announcement.
They had to have been aware of that meme because I mean they did that whole like all the imagery of like the Ark and in space and like the people like watching the announcement from like everywhere in the world. It's like it is like people saying this isn't a real adaptation of Adventure 2. I'm like, but it is though.
It is in the ways that matter.
Yeah, it just doesn't have any sexy bats in it.
Which we can't have in a kids' movie. So we have to wait till like all the kids who watch Sonic 1 have grown up to throw in the sexy bats.
Yeah. Oh, also, sorry, I'm really bad at not doing any final thoughts. But like the one other thing from Adventure 2 that would have been hilarious to adapt would be that whole bit where Sonic and Tails are like trying to like jump into the president's limo.
That's the one thing like
So
I found
funny.
interesting. I kind of wish that like they had the president like in the. I understand why they don't, like, especially like with the state of American politics. It's probably easier just to not have like anything deliberately political in there in terms of like having a president character. But like, man, like having the president from like Sonic Adventure like not be there is just, you feel the lack of presence, especially.
Where is the king? Where is the icon?
Where is the king? Man, I remember like just like what like the president, especially for me, like the president's scenes in like Shadow the Hedgehog were just iconic to me.
They're illegal aliens.
God damn it! This is Rose Landfill. We're
Signing
done. I thought we were ending at pissing on the moon, but nope, we're ending on.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm hitting stop.